Today, Roman-controlled provinces of the first century. A province is like a state to us. The state would then be part of the Roman Empire under the authority of the emperor.
I am the Senate.
The emperor would have been like their president. Every province would have had a governor, or in the case of Galilee, King Herod Antipas, but King Herod Antipas was more of a Roman puppet.
Snipe, snipe, Severus Snipe.
Dumbledore!
Palestine was not really prime real estate in the Romans' eyes. It was more of a headache, if anything, for the Romans.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Jesus is from Nazareth, which is in the province of Galilee. The word Galilee literally meant circle of Gentiles because the surrounding territory around this province were full of non-Jews, Gentiles. Down south, you have the province of Judea. That's where Jerusalem and Bethlehem are located. The distance between Nazareth and Jerusalem is about 80 miles, which is the equivalent of Akron to Cleveland, back to Akron again.
I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
To get from Galilee to Judea, you had to cross through a province called Samaria. The Samaritans were not well liked by the Jews for two different reasons. At first, they were descendants of Abraham, along with the Jews. When the Assyrians conquered the northern kingdom of Israel around 650 BC, the former Israelites intermarried their Assyrian captors. And in the Jewish perspective, that would be turning against Yahweh. That would be abandoning your God.
You betrayed Shira.
That's a violation of the first commandment. After Cyrus the Great ended the Babylonian captivity around 5th century BC, the Jews re-entered Palestine and began to reconstruct the temple that was destroyed by the Babylonians, and the Samaritans, former Israelites, would want to help reconstruct the temple. Well, the Jews down south, the Jews in Judea, wanted nothing to do with the Samaritans, so the Samaritans, not taking rejection well, would slow down progress of the reconstruction of the Second Temple. So that's adding fuel to the fire. So by the time you get to Jesus' time, there's a lot of animosity between the Jews and the Samaritans.
Deception and outrage, disgrace, for shame.
So you have an uncomfortable situation. Further, the Jews in Judea didn't look highly upon the Jews of Galilee. There's a joke in the Gospel of John when they're referring to Jesus being the Messiah. One of the apostles asks, could anything good come out of Galilee?
He is Jesus, son of Joseph from Nazareth.
Can anything good come from Nazareth?
Nazareth in Galilee was more of a backwater kind of town. Galilee was more like the West Virginia of the ancient world. Could you imagine the Messiah coming from West Virginia? But that's the way God frequently works. God chooses people you don't expect. The Jews in Judea thought it'd be one of their people, be someone from the city of David. So Jesus spent most of his life in Galilee. The Synoptic Gospels only portray Jesus coming from Galilee at the end of his ministry down to Jerusalem at the Palm Sunday event. John shows Jesus returning to Jerusalem time and time again. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Bethlehem literally means the city of bread, and it was also the city where David was born. The Jordan River connected the Sea of Galilee up north down to the Dead Sea bordering Judea down south. The apostles more than likely fished in the Sea of Galilee. Jordan River, of course, is significant for John the Baptist, baptized into Jordan. Jordan was also the geographic border separating the Promised Land from the desert. Jerusalem was both the spiritual and political capital of Palestine, and the temple was the #1 place to encounter Yahweh. And because of this, the Jews of Judea tended to be uber-Orthodox and nationalistic. And the temple was central to worship for the Jews for centuries. The Samaritans would also be considered damned because if they want to associate themselves with the God of Abraham, they have to worship in the temple, the purity system said that the Samaritans were unclean. And so the result is the Samaritans worshiped on top of a mountain. You see this dilemma portrayed in the Gospel of John when Jesus encounters the Samaritan woman at the well.